A quick win, you used to build momentum on a complex customer engagement.
The quick wins and quick losses are equally important,
Right.
Both in terms of the technical engagements and technical implementation, but also quick business wins or losses. One of the things that comes to my mind was the ability to kind of force the hand when a large customer in my past life was not willing or able to make a decision, and to show them that we were willing to walk away from the business. And that really helped us win the business, because we were really willing to walk away, and we had provided a highly differentiated solution. We can have a beer anytime you want, but we won't be doing business with you. Because at that point, we had spent more than $12 million on the program, and we hadn't received a single purchase order. When we didn't walk away, they came back and placed a purchase order for over $70 million.
Our guest today is Chandran Nair, a semiconductor leader with decades of experience across test, equipment, and advanced packaging.
He has led teams through complex technical transitions, high-stakes customer engagements, and decisions where walking away was as important as winning.
This conversation is about leadership under pressure, decision-making when the numbers are real, and what it takes to move an organization forward, when the safest option is not the right one.
Most common pitfall equipment startups make in one sentence.
Assuming they know what the customer needs, because very often the customer themselves don't know what they need.
Yes.
Have to discover it with the customer. And they needed a force function to become comfortable, because when we were having the conversation with their CEO, we were very clear about how much money they were potentially losing. And the people in manufacturing and operations had to make the call saying we are willing to lose the money or not. I start with respect, whether it's with a colleague, with somebody who works for me, who works with me, or with a customer. For me, everything starts with respect. The one thing that I value the most that money just cannot buy is peace of mind.
Do you feel that it was basically a straightforward negotiation tactic that was put into place, or?
There were two things.
Hello, and welcome back to the Semiconductor Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Salah Nasri, and yes, whether you are an industry veteran or someone who's curious about semiconductor manufacturing, this is your podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a remarkable following lately. More than 200,000 views on the platforms of Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. However, only 3% have subscribed in the back end. So yes, please do me that little favor and hit that subscribe button, because the promise I'll provide to you all is that the more subscribers we get, the more consistent I will be with these podcasts, and I'll work evidently hard to make sure I bring incredible guests like our guest today. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, live and direct from Singapore, I have Chandran Nair, a legend in the game here, who is currently the CEO of UVGC. I hope I got that right. UVGC. UVGC or JC. UVJC. Chandran, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Salah. Good to be here.
Glad to have you here. So, Chandran, I mean, for those who don't know what UVJC is, what is it?
So first of all, it stands for Universal Vaporjet Printing. And we are an equipment company that is an independent subsidiary of Universal Display Corporation. And we specialize in solventless patterned deposition and printing that has a wide variety of uses, specifically in semiconductors, in packaging, and silicon photonics.
Awesome. So, Chandran, for the audience to get to know who you are out there, I'm going to give you some rapid-fire questions. So to start off with, I mean, this will go back to your test days. In one line, what problem in semiconductor test are you obsessed with right now or then?
Well, with semiconductor tests, until recently, I was most obsessed with solving the testing issues in advanced packaged high-performance compute chips.
Marvelous. Chandran, bespoke application-specific equipment or general platforms, what wins the next 5 years?
So that's a very interesting question. Will not be able to give you a one sentence answer. For very high end applications, specifically to deliver extremely high value, differentiated products to a customer that's important in their manufacturing line, customized solutions are extremely important. Having said that, though, for general purpose standard products, they play an important role specifically in the base. I would call them base level applications, both in the semiconductor manufacturing and test industry.
Marvelous. If I could do it faster, as a phrase, one decision from your career.
Well, faster would be increasing the velocity and the speed with which we bring new systems and products online.
Marvelous. A quick win you used to build momentum on a complex customer engagement.
Well, that is again very interesting. The quick wins and quick losses are equally important, right? Both in terms of the technical engagements and technical implementation, but also quick business wins or losses. One of the things that comes to my mind was the ability to kind of force the hand when a large customer in my past life was not willing or able to make a decision, and to show them that we were willing to walk away from the business. And that really helped us win the business because we were really willing to walk away, and we had provided a highly differentiated solution. This was in my test days, and we finally won the business.
Nice. Lovely. Chiplets, integration headache or opportunity? Pick one.
I would say opportunity.
Opportunity. From National Instruments APAC times to your AEM time, one principle that consistently grows revenue that you could share?
Listening very carefully to the customer, playing it back, and helping them see problems that they don't see.
Nice. Culture cue you look for on a high performance or high performing team in a single behavior?
Well, if I had to encapsulate it, one is curiosity. The second is teamwork. And the third one is humility. These three things together, and of course you have to have a high integrity and core level of competence that goes without saying, are some of the key attributes, I would say.
Overhyped in automation topic. Digital twins, cobots, or lights out lines?
All three have the potential to be extremely important. I would say, sorry, what was the first one?
The first one is digital twins.
I would say lights out factory is a bit overhyped at the moment.
Okay. Underhyped in automation. Fixturing, ergonomics, or preventive maintenance?
I think fixturing is really underhyped because with good fixturing comes the ability to automate better, faster, and more reliably.
Partnerships that move roadmaps fastest. ASIC vendors, OSATs, or material suppliers?
It really depends where you are, which part of the industry you're in. Where I'm currently involved in, materials companies are extremely important, right? In my past life, it was different. I would say it was the ASIC designers being able to get in early into the design phase for testing.
The go or no-go rule for code development with a strategic customer?
Equity in terms, right? In terms of more than just the word, right? In terms of the relationship, the respect for IP, and the respect to make each other successful.
The meeting you never cancel, even in fire drills?
It's the customer meeting.
That's right. One practice that keeps Asia, Europe, and US teams aligned?
You're talking about within an organization?
Correct. Within an
So
organization.
that's actually a really, really good question. I'm going to take a little bit longer to answer that. Mutual respect, extremely important. In today's world where multinationals are now really truly multinationals as opposed to just being headquartered centric,
Yeah.
right? The successful companies are the companies that have a good mix of centralized and decentralized controls. The ones that I have seen being able to work very well is where innovation is not centralized.
Yeah.
Where finance is centralized, where marketing is really not centralized, right? So the ability to meet the needs of the local customers with great respect for the individual regions is something that's really important.
Most common pitfall equipment startups make in one sentence.
Assuming they know what the customer needs, because very often the customer themselves don't know what they need.
Yes.
Have to discover it with the customer.
A standard or certification you wish the industry would adopt tomorrow.
A standardized way for chiplets to talk to each other.
That's a good one. A very good answer. Next decade's toughest equipment hurdle or equipment manufacturing hurdle. Thermal, power, integrity, or reliability screens?
Honestly, it's all three. I cannot see one superseding the other, all three.
Favorite shop floor question to ask an operator?
Well, when I'm on the shop floor, I really want to know, one, the condition of the machine. Two is the condition, the reliability, and the yield.
A leadership mantra you actually use?
I start with respect, whether it's with a colleague, with somebody who works for me, who works with me, or with a customer. For me, it's everything starts with respect.
Finish the sentence. Great semiconductor strategy is
knowing your applications and imagining the future.
Love it. That's the rapid fire questions done. Let's get into the deep discussions now. So your career journey. So, my team, they gave me the whole research report, and it's quite a remarkable journey, as I mentioned earlier. So from National Instruments in 1997 to leading AEM, and now with UVGC, what key milestones shaped your perspective on instrumentation, equipment manufacturing, and semiconductor growth?
So over the last almost 30 years now, good God, I do feel old, but I say that. But over the last 30 years, quite a few things. Some are product line, technologies, and very often people that kind of shaped how I went. In the early years, I was extremely influenced at National Instruments by the then CEO and founder, Dr. Trishad, right? Mm-hmm. A few key things. One is understanding, or rather listening to the customer, and also understanding that the customer doesn't often know their problem completely. Right. So listening to the customer and understanding what the customer needs to be able to reformulate the problem statement in a way the customer may not have framed it is an extremely important way that informs us with regards to what kind of products need to be designed and deployed. Right? So that was an important part that really is a segue into my early days of PXI, the instrumentation line that unfortunately many people call it Pixie, but having been a part of the founding team, I still call it PXI. PXI, right? The instrumentation platform.
But what's interesting is that you've held roles in the engineering side of things, the sales, marketing, and strategic planning. I mean, how has this kind of multifaceted background informed your leadership style to date?
A few things. Having done engineering, strategic planning, product strategy, general management, etc., sales very importantly, the thing that if I were to encapsulate some of the things that have helped me become a CEO for a second time, one in an established publicly listed company and now in a startup phase for universal vaporjet printing, is to frame problem statements in ways that most people may not see it, right? So that as you create solutions, they could be highly differentiated, right? I have never been interested in the French fry product, right? Because the French fry product anybody can do. I've been more interested in looking at scaling highly differentiated products or ideas, right? And that's what we are doing at the Universal Vaporjet Printing, looking at what is missing in some of the deposition and printing technologies and how we can take it to multiple industries, including semiconductors.
Right. And what would be interesting to know is, can you share a success story that illustrates how close collaboration with a customer led through to some sort of breakthrough metrics for them?
Yeah, so I need to be careful because I need to make sure I don't break any NDAs.
NDA. You can just call the company with the first letter. It's kind of easy. The I company, the T company, or just say Semiconductors.
So a well-known company that makes semiconductors for two or three different biggest cell phone manufacturers, right? This was a few years ago when they were using some standardized test equipment for certain kinds of RF test. And they were spending tons of money doing good tests, of course, for these two different leaders in the cell phone industry. And they were using very traditional methods, right? And it took them a good 2 years of convincing their technical people, and then working past the technical people with the operations people on the manufacturing line, to be able to look at things differently. I have to be careful about it. I can't talk too much about the technology because then that would kind of inform which companies, which I'm not allowed to talk about. But the gist of the matter was two fundamentally different ways of testing would give the same quality of results, but would reduce the cost of test in those days by almost 40%. Which means when you're spending over $200 million a year on testing of those chips for RF, 40% is a large sale, right? And the way and that actually alludes to when we were willing to walk away from the customer in one of the earlier questions that you asked. Right? It was with that customer when the milestones they set were always reached and in fact overachieved, right? But every single time the competitors who were at that point the go-to company for test would come back by just slashing the price.
Oh.
Right? And that's when we said, okay, you know what? After the third milestones was achieved and they were still not willing to take the plunge, we said, okay, hey, really, we can have a beer anytime you want, but we won't be doing business with you. Because at that point, we'd spent more than $12 million on the program and we hadn't received a single purchase order.
Jeez.
Right.
Wow.
And
so that's the instance where you walked away from.
We're willing to walk away.
We're willing to walk away.
And then when we didn't walk away, they came back and placed a purchase order for over $70 million.
Oh, look at that! Wow. So that is like basically like there's a great book that it's called "Never Split the Difference," and it's do you feel that it was basically a straightforward negotiation tactic that was put into place, or
there were two things, right? One was a negotiating tactic. The second one was the fear to go outside the boundaries that they knew. Because on the production side, they were very comfortable with what they knew. And they were uncomfortable with the new.
Yes.
Right? And they needed a force function to become comfortable, because when we were having the conversation with their CEO, you were very clear about how much money they were potentially losing. And the people in manufacturing and operations had to make the call saying, we are willing to lose the money or not. And I think the CEO probably told them that they may be willing to, but he wasn't.
From that kind of perspective, during your tenure at National Instruments, APAC, and later at AEM, what would you say were the core principles that you followed to grow the revenue to nearly $400 million in the Asia Pacific, and then expand also the AEM's global footprint as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds cliched, but always starting with the customer, right? So often business leaders will start with the finance. I actually start always with the customer, the employee. So if, first of all, you need customers to pay, right? You need employees to be able to really take the vision of the company to heart. Once these two happen successfully, most often the rest fall in place. Right. So what I mean by this is understand what the customer needs, deliver value.
Right.
Understand what makes an employee feel the company. Right. Once that happens, these two things do go well. You're able to deliver value. The customer is able to see the value, and then we work to make sure that our business model is met, whatever the business model that you're putting in place, and that typically then takes care of itself. And financially, we do well because we do owe success to the investors too, right? As much as we do to the customer and the employee. So I always start with the customer, the employees, systems in place, and then that really will then naturally lead to success from the financial metrics too.
What would be intriguing to learn from you is when you mentioned the second part, which is the employees. So could you share like specifics on how you nurtured a unified culture focused on customer success and innovation at the same time?
So with regards to the culture in a company, the places where I've seen it work and where I've been successful, and there have been places where I've not been successful either, without mentioning names. All right. The places where I've derived the most success from is when we are able to make the employees feel that it is a shared fate, right? And shared fate comes from an amount of unselfishness from leaders to be able to motivate the employees that the weekend that they may not be able to
spend with the
family is more than just a paycheck to the bosses.
So how do you do that? Like what methodologies that you took into place? Was it like company retreats? Was it bonuses? Was it monetary? Was it not financial?
Company retreats and monetary benefits goes a part of the way. They really don't finish the job, right? It is the concept of shared fate, meaning they see you work with them towards achieving the goals for the company. They feel not just, of course, money is a good thing. You'll never underrate money, right? But at the same time, more than the financial gains, it is the recognition and the sense of purpose.
Right. In terms of so I want to go somewhere in your career where you were in the robotics and autonomous systems experience. ST engineering lessons. Interesting. So, president of the robotics and autonomous system business unit, what technological or operational insights did you bring from autonomous vehicles and robotics to where you are now?
So I was at ST Engineering for a short while, for about a year, a little bit less than a year. It was a great company with very good people. With regards to the robotics and autonomous vehicles, transport is an automation problem, right? Now, because I personally love to drive, and many people love to drive, we like to think it is a human experience. But if you just talk about going from the office to the house, going from point A to point B, it is an automation problem, no different from a conveyor belt in a factory,
Right.
right? And once we reach a stage where we understand as a population that it is an automation problem, actually autonomous vehicles become far more easier to implement, right? The biggest challenge is mixed traffic when you have people and machines working together. That's the biggest challenge. The biggest learning I have from that is as we go into, some people call it Industry 5.0, go into the next industrial revolution, it is understanding how AI can be used in conjunction with people for the better good of people, right? It is not to be able to replace jobs. So when I look at the purely intellectual transport problem, it is a automation problem. But when I look at it now, with regards to automating factories, making engineering processes more efficient, it really is a cohabitation, not even a problem, a cohabitation opportunity of how we are able to muster the resources of us humans, along with the increased advances in AI technology, to be able to really bring creative solutions to the problems that we face as humans.
You've served on the boards of Science Centre Singapore, ARTC, and other associations out there. What key industry gaps or opportunities are you most focused on addressing now?
So now a lot of my focus is in a few, first of all, different industrial areas, right? Industrial segments. And then I'll talk a little bit about the opportunities that I see there. One is in semiconductor. It's really in advanced packaging, right? Advanced packaging is where, or rather backend, is where a lot of the performance improvements in semiconductors are going to take place. And the ability to have chiplets talk easily to each other, the ability to put multiple chiplets in a package to increase the performance at the application level is an area that is of high importance. The other area, which may be surprising given my background is mostly in electronics and semiconductor, is in drug delivery, pharmaceutical drug delivery. How some of the best practices we have in semiconductors could be used for improving things like the efficacy of drugs as being delivered to biological systems, humans and others, right? So these are kind of two areas that I see extremely important, that I think some of the work that UVJC and I'm working on with UVJC are possibly able to solve in the future.
So with chiplets, 3D packaging, and of course increasing AI workloads, what do you foresee as the biggest hurdle from a technological standpoint over the next decade?
So over the next decade, some of the near-term holy grails that would need to be solved. One is a common system of communicating between chiplets, a standardized way of communicating, so that the IP in each of these packages can be in a good way exploited more effectively between companies and systems providers. That's one. Another big thing is the ability to integrate silicon with light emitting systems or light transceiving systems to be able to use the speed of light to communicate between chiplets, right? And hence increase the bandwidth, because now the ability for the different chiplets to talk to each other, for compute models to talk to memory and so on, are limited by the bandwidth, by the speed.
Right.
And being able to talk between chiplets at the speed of light, I think is something that a lot of people are looking at how to solve.
So on that perspective then, where does UVJC play in this?
So UVJC is looking and working with materials partners and semiconductor companies to partner with. One is to see if there is ability for us to print waveguides, which means it solves or is a part of the solution for chiplet communication, is the ability to work with partners on efficiently and effectively taking heat out of semiconductor packaged systems. I can't talk too much about these things because
still under NDA.
Development.
And, for entrepreneurs out there building the next wave of semiconductor technology solutions, whether it's material, equipment, EDA, software, you name it, what are the top pitfalls to avoid, you would suggest, and opportunities to seize?
I mean, this is across the board, not just for semiconductors, right? So entrepreneurs have to go in with the attitude that they want to succeed but are willing to fail, right? They need velocity to be able to learn fast what works and what doesn't, and be willing to pivot very quickly, because very often, and I know this again sounds cliche, you'll read this in many books, the initial idea you started with may not be the idea that brings you success finally.
Yeah. It can come as an accident.
It can come as an accident. It can come with learning more as the world's changing fast and pivoting to do
early and fast.
Right.
For the, let's say, the Chandran that just come out of university, if I had like a special power that I could just click and you could go back in time right now, what would you say to that Chandran that just come out of university?
Well, when I was coming out of university, especially out of undergrad, I was planning to be an academician, and spent a little bit of time delving on that. I spent a little bit of time having a lot of fun. I would continue to say have a lot of fun. You don't need to be in a hurry, but I would focus. I think the importance of understanding customer needs was not there when I was young. I would focus on the multicultural aspects of the world of business and world of technology to be able to work across different segments. That would be one advice I would give my young self. And the second one I would say is continue to have a lot of fun.
That's the way forward, right? So what top 3 pieces of advice would you offer to young professionals out there aiming for leadership roles in semiconductor manufacturing?
So again, given that I have children who are in their early 20s or just turned 20 at this point, sometimes I feel I'm not equipped to give good advice because the world is changing so fast. But I will attempt at it. I'll make an attempt at it, right? In the semiconductor world, of course, competency is the bare minimum. So I'm not even going to talk about that, because you need to have a high level of competency, whether you're in chip design, you're in chip manufacturing, you're in materials business, whatever, high level of competency. So having said that, that is a given. I would say curiosity is something that's extremely important. When I say curiosity, is what I mean by that is not necessarily being just stuck to one idea, because very often breakthroughs are cross-functional, right? So if you're a technologist, of course, understanding your area of specialty well, but keeping your eyes and ears and mind open to understanding and observing, and with curiosity looking at what are the advances in the other areas that you could learn from and implement in your core area of work. I would say that is probably one of the biggest from a technology point of view. From a business point of view, if you aspire to go from technology into business, I would say the ability to understand the world, the fast changing pace of the world, to understand the politics, the economics, right? And to really be fearless.
You've based yourself in Singapore and you haven't left Singapore. Why Singapore?
That's a great question. So Singapore is home now. I moved in Singapore initially, what was supposed to be like a 2 or 3 year stint, in 2003 January.
2003 January?
It was supposed to be back in Austin, Texas by 2005, 2006. But this became home, right? This became home for multiple of reasons. One is this is where we had our kids, right? So, and it provided great stable home, great opportunity In those days, it was still a springboard into China and the rest of the world, the rest of the Asian world. Now, of course, China, Korea, Japan, everybody is equally multicultural and able to go on with the world. I like the ecosystem that we have here, both on the government side with people like EDB and A-Star that provide a very strong ecosystem to innovators like me and my teams that I have worked with in the past, and with a lot of private companies, and the fact that we are cosmopolitan, right? Both in terms of cultural and technological mindset is something that I value a lot.
Well, interestingly enough, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this, is when you look at the ecosystem here in semiconductors in Singapore, you have the equipment manufacturers, you have the IDMs, the OSATs, the foundries,
everybody.
Where's the design houses?
Good point. There are a few design houses. You're right. That's a good observation. I can see some of the design houses actually now coming up, and I think the early years was centered around manufacturing and manufacturing processes, right? The ability to bring new designs to fruition. I think we were slower in starting. I can see that happening slowly but surely here, especially in the startup domain, right? With regards to established companies like the big 4 or 5, I think India does take a center stage in the design I call it the Southeast Asia region. In the East Asia, North Asia region, China is increasingly an important part in design, chip design. I think Singapore will continue to play a very important role in the back end, in the equipment manufacturing to the foundry. On the design side, I don't see it in the near future taking the lead, but I think I can see some important milestones being set, especially with the startups.
I mean, what would be interesting to understand as well is, do you believe people find purpose or create it? Do you believe people find purpose or create it?
Oh. That's a really, really good question. I think it is very contextual. I can see times when I have found purpose, and in business I can see lots of times when I've created it. So I would say at personal life, at a philosophical level, I think personally I can speak for myself. Have found purpose, and from a business and a technology side, I think I've created it.
I mean, you've done well. I mean, remarkably well in your career. Well, for someone like myself, I'm sure there's several viewers in the same position as me. You know, one demeanor that I've got to know you recently is, and it's a straightforward question. It is, what small daily habit that keeps you grounded?
That's a good question. Well, what keeps me grounded is thankfulness, right? Small measures of thankfulness, starting from the family and taking it all the way to people that you work with, that people that work for you, with you. I don't know. I'm a deep believer in thankfulness and extremely against any kind of arrogance.
Yeah, but it's a very common. Well, I don't want to put you with that, but in our industry,
being a leader can often lead to arrogance, and being grounded for me, thankfulness helps me being grounded and not taking things for granted.
So on that note, what's the one thing that money can't buy then, that you value the most today?
The one thing that I value the most that money just cannot buy is peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Being able to sleep at
night, knowing that in some small measure you're able to do good to the world.
Finish the sentence. at the end of it all, I want to be remembered as?
For me, the most important thing is my family, right? So everything else takes secondary apart from being a good man.
For sure. And if you could finish this sentence, then family is?
Family is where the heart is. For me, it's my wife and the kids and parents and so on.
I love that. And last but not least, what's your personal mantra when you wake up in the morning, Chandran?
I'm very fortunate. I wake up very happy. It's so.
I know you need to teach me how to do it. I can't. To be frank with you on the personal, I usually wake up every morning going, right, what fire do I need to put off today?
So when I was managing larger companies which were publicly listed, very often there are fires burning. I try to put things in perspective, turn around, see my wife, see the kids. That keeps me happy. Then on a more realistic way too, I try not to look at the phone the first thing in the morning. And I wake up with purpose, and the purpose is not to answer the phone the first thing in the morning. The purpose is to answer the phone maybe an hour later, but not the first thing in the morning.
So what is that first hour? How does it look like?
The first hour is more meditative. And when the kids were younger, to try to have conversations with the family as they grow up and become adults, to make sure I get some reading time and get some. I normally get at least a little bit of family time in the morning before I start.
I love that. Yeah, that is one of the toughest things, because I think there's a great phrase. That I read actually this morning, and it was one of the toughest things about being a father is when you realize you're raising the ones you can't live without to live without you. You're teaching these creations, human creations, to learn how to live without you, even though your favorite moment in life was when they're around you. There's nothing like it. It's magical for you to do that. A dad can lose friends. He can be misunderstood by his own family. He can carry the weight of criticism and still sleep just fine at night.
It's beautiful.
And it's related to what you just said, listener.
Very true. Where did you...
This is Patrick David who wrote this. So it's crazy. You just said that, and literally it's in front of me. And everything you just said right now is just correlated to it. It's remarkable. Is there anything else you'd like our audience to know or to share?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest topics of today's world is AI and the impact of AI. And I think it's all our responsibility as technologists, technology leaders, business leaders, to make sure that when we talk about AI and we implement AI, we understand what it means to people and how it can best impact people, not just yourself, in terms of the returns, right? In terms of what is the best way forward, because I think it is one of the biggest technological changes that have where it can be a great opportunity for us or can be gravely misused.
Yeah, and that is going to be a very worrying situation. But on the positive note, it changed. In terms of optimization of efficiency,
I believe in the opportunity of this. So I'm very much...
When it's in those right hands, that's the question.
Exactly.
Awesome, Chandran. Honestly, again, thank you for joining us on the show. It's always remarkable to speak, and I'd love to have you again on the podcast to see how things are going with UVJC. So I wish you nothing but the success and peace and happiness. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Speaking to you.
Absolute pleasure. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. If you want to contact Chandran, you can reach out to him on his LinkedIn profile just right here. You can click right here and reach out to him directly. To everyone that's joined, again, thank you for joining. If you found it valuable, click that share button, like, comment. As I mentioned, it takes a village to raise a chip, and it takes subscribers to raise a podcast. So hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I wish you all the best and take care, and see you at the next episode. Bye for now.